get my 6. Okay, guys, first, for those of you who came here to see what it is we have to make viral, let me get this out of the way first in a minute or less. It's a sign that I saw today. I'm going to tell you the story behind the sign, but let me show you the sign first. Here it is. Share this video, make this go viral. All right, so here's the story behind the sign. And you'll have to, the rain's coming. We're getting some pretty severe thunderstorms here today. And yes, this is just my opinion. I do believe that Bigfoot Sasquatch really is only hiding from the IRS. Hey, don't tell me to stop changing the subject. I showed you the sign. That's why you clicked. That's what I want to go viral. I'm going to talk about whatever I want to talk about from now on for the rest of this video. I'm the one out here getting rained on. All right, anyway. We've set up in front of the pond today because we have these very beautiful purple flowers that came out yesterday. And if it works like it has the last 5 years, the June bugs will show up tomorrow and eat them. So I wanted to show them to you before they're gone. And plus this beautiful banana tree. And we've been getting a lot of rain the last few days, so the water in the pond's a little muddy. But isn't it just a nice view? The bullfrog thinks so. All right, so here's the significance behind this sign. And I told a couple girls there working at that establishment where I saw that I was going to come home and make that sign go viral. And they wanted me to keep it a secret because it was their secret. But I was like, nah, something like this is a great idea. Listen, here's the deal. That sign was in the public restroom or customer's restroom, whatever, at a place called Boylan Heights down in Charlottesville on the corner of the campus of the University of Virginia. I was down there today. I went into town for lunch, and then after lunch, I walked for 2 hours, and I had forgotten to take my sunglasses with me into town. I didn't have a hat, so it gave me the perfect excuse to stop by Mincer's and buy yet another UVA hat. You know, I always buy them in different colors, and the sun bleaches them out, so I figured, why not just finally just break down and buy a white one so the sun can't bleach it out. So anyway, the people down there are great. The people at all the businesses down there on the corner. And when I run out of water, because I always take like an orange water bottle with me or a green Gatorade bottle, when I run out, I'll just go into a place and be like, hey, sorry to bother you, but I'm out here walking, however far. Can I have some water? I'm out of water. And they always smile and say, sure, whether it's Starbucks or one of the restaurants or bars like Boylan Heights. So I'm in there today doing this, and I'm using the restroom also, and I saw that sign. And, you know, if you didn't pause it to make sure you read it all, or if you don't want to go back to read it all, basically, it's a sign that, lets the people who are in the restroom, it says, now we have an older audience here on this channel, so I'll explain what this is. It's kind of just, hey, it's nothing that I do or would do, but in my youth, maybe. There's this site called Tinder where you just kind of hook up with people. You find people you're attracted to, and you get together, and you get to know each other in the biblical sense. Yeah, but you don't go to church with them. You see what I'm getting at, right? Okay. So that sign was like, is your Tinder date not who they said they were? But then it goes on to say, are you uncomfortable with whoever you're with in your situation? Do you need help? Like, are you with somebody who's being aggressive? Is somebody, touching you without your permission or just giving you the feeling that you're not safe? Well, that sign instructs the people reading the sign who are in that situation to go to the bar and order a Bluebird. Or, grab a waitress outside or a waiter and order a Bluebird. And they will get you out of that situation. They will make sure to get you out of that establishment. And you saw they even put the phone number there for, this is wonderful. They didn't have this kind of stuff when I was in college, or at least not where I went to college, back in Appalachian. And it was a million years ago. There were no cell phones back there anyway. But there's a place they can call to get you a free ride home or wherever you're staying or somewhere else. Isn't that wonderful? And I told, when I saw that sign, I was telling those wonderful young ladies working there today, we need to make this go viral, because anybody who works in a bar, a restaurant, or even a department store, couldn't a department store put up a sign in all the restrooms with some sort of code that says, maybe, if you've been kidnapped, if you're being human trafficked, if you feel threatened, or you're not in a safe situation, no matter what the situation is, go to any of our employees, go to any of our cashiers, find a sales clerk, a salesperson on the floor, and say, I'm looking for Spumoni. I need to find Spumoni. That's a safe word. Now, I'm kind of, I don't want to break any copyright rules here. That's the safe word from the movie, it's a Will Ferrell movie when he's playing basketball. What was that called? I don't know. It was a funny movie, but he wrestles a bear for a fundraiser, and when he feels like he's in trouble and the bear is going to maul him, he's supposed to yell Spumoni. That's a safe word. So just put, hey, if you feel unsafe, put up the word Spumoni. So that's the meaning behind the sign. And we need to make that go viral. Anybody who works in any sort of public setting, sorry, I just edited for like 6 days straight. Which brings me to the announcement. Now, that's what I want to go viral. That's like, seriously, and my heart is in that. But here's the announcement. My new novel, The Lunatic. That's the name of it. The Lunatic, by this guy, who some would say maybe potentially a lunatic. I mean, who goes out in the rain, with shirts pretty much saying Bigfoot Sasquatch is really only hiding from the IRS, and makes YouTube videos? It would take like a lunatic to do something like that. Okay, it's not about me. It's a really awesome story. It's a really awesome book. It's now available on Amazon in print, because a lot of the folks that watch the channel here prefer print over Kindle, and it is available in Kindle. Since I'm already wet, I may as well tell you what it's about, right? Well, it's about 184 pages in print and about 158 pages in Kindle. Sorry, another dad joke. Hey, that one wasn't any more funny than the dad jokes I was telling those girls down there working at Boylan Heights today. They didn't laugh. Well, once, but it was a nervous laugh, so that doesn't really count. What they were laughing at, or nervous laugh? Listen, while I was outside, I was drinking some water, catching my breath before I got back on my walk. I noticed that every 21st person that came by would say the name of the establishment. Seriously. They'd look up and they go, Boylan Heights. And then they'd keep walking. I saw one person do it, and I thought, I wonder, how many people, what would the numbers be here? Because I'm always trying to run numbers in my head. I like numbers. I wonder how many people say that. So I started counting. I started counting people as they went by. And, wow, there's a red ant. Oh, I wasn't trying to flip you off there, people. That red ant was biting me somewhere. Listen, ant, you don't got no business knowing me in a biblical sense. You notice how I just pulled it? I think I'm on a freaking anthill. Wow, you talk about a lunatic. Not only am I making a video in the rain about my book, The Lunatic, I'm doing it on a freaking anthill. Okay, so anyway, I start counting. 1, 2, 3. 21st person who comes by looking around, they look up, they go, oh, Boylan Heights. Boom. Every 21 people that come by, for some reason, would state the name of the business. I don't know. What? Did I count again after that? No, I was walking. I didn't want to cool down entirely and have to get, I had a nice, clean, healthy sweat going. So anyway, here's the deal. Here's what the book's about in real life. And it even says it on the back of the book where it talks about the description. More than any other book ever written, more than any other piece of literature written in any of the various human languages of planet Earth, this book illustrates the importance of... That's not a ghost. We get them around here sometimes. That's a... Man, hold on. Use my new hat for the phone. All right. The importance of being ourselves, being who we are, no matter who that is. Because if we're not, as the story in this book, it's going to blow your mind. Your head's going to explode when you read it. freaking right on an anthill in the rain, and they're all coming up because of the rain. Ah. All right, so anyway, when we are not who we are, when we don't live the life meant for us to live based upon who we are, we run the risk of becoming that which we hate and hating that which we love. And in the case of the lunatic, I don't want to give too much of it away, even killing it. Now, it's a story about a guy. He's kind of a recluse. Listen, this story is told in first-person conversational. It's the same writing style I did with Isle of Capri, okay? But, whereas in that book, and I'll admit that main character was largely based upon my own persona, this book is not. This is not me. So when you're reading this, it's like, wow, I feel like I'm right there hanging out with Crazy Lake while I'm reading this book because of this first-person conversational style. No, that is not me. That is totally not me, okay? This is the most politically incorrect book I've ever written in my life, but it's for a reason, and you're going to understand why. Hang in there. If you give up on it early, you're going to just be like, wow, that was creepy. Ow! Man! All right, read it through to the end, and you're gonna be like, OMG. When you hear the camel, listen, the camel, the part about the camel is you're gonna be like, I can't believe what I just read about this camel. It's gonna make your head explode. Now, I don't want to give anything away about the camel. But listen, there's this guy, and he keeps to himself, but he observes everything that's going on around him, and he kind of thinks he's got things figured out based upon what he sees. And he kind of gets a crush. He's got a neighbor. His neighbor is a total lunatic, right? Guy's like, never leaves the house, not even go to work. So our main character assumes dude's rich, doesn't even have to work because he's in an affluent area. Most of the folks around him are rich anyway, as this guy believes. You'll see when you read the book. So he kind of figures the guy's in there day trading, and he's making so much money doing it that he has these parties at his house, and he calls call girls. Now listen, there's a lot of adult themes, a lot of adult material in this book. Nothing specific, like there's no specific graphics. It's none of that 50 Shades of Grey crap. But it is alluded to, all right? A lot of adult stuff is alluded to in here. This is not a book for kids. This is a grown-up book. There's a lot of foul language. There's a bunch of very insensitive stuff in this book. You're going to be reading it and you're like, oh my G, OMG. I'm just telling you right now. So anyway, our main character kind of develops a crush. I mean, he really gets a hots. Oh, yeah! Little boogers. I gotta hurry this up. Man, I wish I didn't have this curse of taking 20 minutes to tell a 3-minute story. I don't know what it is about me, but even with fire ants, I can't just say what I gotta say and get it out. But listen, he ends up getting his crush, on this person, and he's kind of shut himself off from the world because he feels that he's been burned. He's been burned with relationships in the past. He's been divorced twice, but he finally decides he's going to go over and connect. This girl's over there hanging out with her best friend. It just turns out to be that it's what a beautiful rain we have here, isn't it? I don't want to block your view of the pond. Isn't that beautiful? I'm such a lunatic out here doing this. All right, so anyway, he's going to get, because he's been looking at her from afar, and he wants to get to know her, and so he goes over. Turns out, and listen, I'm kind of being specific here with kind of what's going on in the story, but trust me, just because I'm telling you this, you will not know what this story is about until you read it. You talk about a twist. For those of you who like to watch movies that have twists and all this stuff, and maybe I'm giving it away here, but so he goes over there, he sneaks over to his neighbor's property, never talked to these people, and they've been there almost a year. And he realizes that these women are like screaming his lunatic neighbor's name, talking about how like he's dead, he's never going to see another sunrise, and they're burning his clothes or burning his personal effects. Once he realizes that whatever's going on here is something different than he thought, he decides to get back out of there. But one of the girls sees him, and she goes after him. And a night of murder and mayhem thus ensues that he just never saw coming, never saw any of it coming. And when you're reading through, ow! Hey, there's fire ants. All right. Hey, at least we're not in Texas. They're bigger down there. Everybody knows everything's bigger in Texas. So if you live in Texas, consider that compliment. Go buy my book, The Lunatic, on Amazon, print or Kindle. But anyway, definitely, we've all heard it said, don't believe anything you hear and only half of what you see. This book, The Lunatic, by this guy, illustrates this more than any other work of literature in any language on earth, whether it's, English, Hebrew, ancient Greek, Japanese, Tagalog. There's some Tagalog, the national language of the Philippines, in this book. I told you earlier, before it got published, everything is in this book. It's true. They speak Tagalog in this book, but don't worry, because it translates and hey, there's a talk show in this book. This is really crazy. Beginning of the year, I read Sound and the Fury by William Faulkner. Great Southern writer, right? Kind of like this guy, just saying. All right. The really interesting thing about Sound and the Fury is that it starts out written in voice of consciousness. It's like you're kind of, it doesn't make a lot of sense, and you've really got to be an avid reader to understand even part of it. I struggled with it. I was Googling stuff all the time, and I went and watched the movie that they made recently here just a couple years ago. But stream of consciousness, it's like you're reading the character's thoughts, and then it evolves, and then it becomes first-person narrative. There were 2 or 3 major styles of writing in this novel, and it was considered one of the best novels of the last century. I personally don't agree with that. My favorite is Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck. Great. Anyway, I read that and I thought, why would I, because as a writer, you got to read a lot and you got to write a lot if you want to be any good at it. And you never finish reading a book, or you never quit reading a book, even if you're not that into it, because you can always learn something. Well, I put that book down after I got through it, and I thought, why would anybody ever use 3 distinct writing styles in one novel? That's the only time I'd ever seen that, and it just didn't make sense to me. Guess what? The Lunatic, it happens. First-person conversational. Then we jump over to journalism because there's some media articles, and then I wrote my very first ever screenplay for a podcast, television show, talk show. It's insane. It is a masterful piece of literature. It's going to save a lot of lives. It's going to make the value of a lot of people's lives better. Like the quality of life a lot of people are living after this, they read this book, and everybody talks about this book, and it goes to number 1 on every chart. The quality of people's lives are going to increase. And I'm not trying to be funny here. Everybody knows my dad jokes aren't funny. Those girls at the bar didn't laugh at me. I think it's time for us to go. I'm actually making this video just up the hill from what I just recently found out is an unmarked cemetery, and that might have been old Jessup. So go to the link in the description box, buy my new novel, The Lunatic, print or Kindle, and the rest of them, because they're all good. Thanks for your support. See you for more next time from here at Homesteading Off the Grid, and whatever this channel's about.